Welcome to another Kings of War 3rd Edition Battle Report, Tournament Battle Number 2. Empire of Dust versus the Forces of Nature. 2150 points. The scenario was push. Okay, though I went over this in the first Tournament Battle Report, I'll just go over it again. This is a tournament for 2 players that have multiple armies, and so I come up with some rules just for that. So each player will have 4 armies that they can use throughout the event. Each army must be used 2 times. Any army that is won must be used in the following game. The other player has a choice of which army will try and gain their revenge. Any winning army may modify their list by 15% before playing their next game. They will not know their next opponent, so this is just to correct any design errors. Scoring will be by the blackjack system. At the end of 8 games, the scores will be totaled. If the total scores are within 10% of each other, the tournament is a draw. A different scenario must be used in each game. Once that scenario is rolled, it is no longer available for the rest of the tournament. The first game of the event is the player's choice of which army to field. If a game is a draw, then each player may play whatever army they want in the following game. So part of this event was to play with different armies, and I grabbed 4 different armies for this tournament because I own a lot of armies. So this is the force I chose was the Force of Nature army because I thought it would match up really well to the Empire of Dust since both armies have a lot of shambling and stuff. So I had 3 hordes of earth elementals, 1 with a blade of slashing, 1 horde of forest shamblers, 1 with the brew of sharpness, a greater earth elemental, a beast of nature with the swings and the flying upgrade, 2 Pegasus, a Gladewalker Druid, a Tree Herder with the Aegis of the Elohi, a Forest Warden with a tome to give him Surge 7, a Unicorn with Lightning Bolt 5, and the Boomstick, a total of 18 unit strength and 12 drops. Alright, so this tournament, I did select 4 different armies, and the first army I'd selected was Brotherhood, and I lost the last game. And if you've looked at our tournament rules, that gives me the choice. I could have played Brotherhood again against the same list that Craig had, or I could choose a different army. And I had got inspired this week to build a Forces of Nature army. Now, to that end, I have a lot of old Wood Elf figures from back in my Games Workshop days, and I have 3 hordes, a whole bunch of Earth Elementals and Greater Earth Elementals that my friend Sean Dietrich printed for me. And so I just kind of did a mush them all together to form my Forces of Nature army. And this week I really got inspired to do some basing. So I mean, I know it's not pro quality, but it looks way better than the black bases they've had in the past. So that's why I worked on this army. And my whole idea was using the strength 6 to hold stuff out and then be able to flank. So it kind of worked. I don't know the way this force worked, but I always have really, I think armor 6 spam is like the new filth for Kings of War because there's just so few things that can really deal with it. And you know, it's like, hey, I'm charging you to flank, I've got 90 swings, hitting on 5s and wounding on 6s, and you're just like, who cares? So that's what I think about the Forces Nature army. Maybe in the future I will bust out some of my other Wood Elf figures to throw in the list, and you know, such as I do have a whole bunch of old Dryads which I could use as Hunters of the Wild, and I could have put them in the list too, just to have a little cheaper option versus so many of the hordes of Earth Elementals. But this is the army for now. I have made some changes to it, just slight changes in magic items and things like that, because some of the things I put there didn't make any sense at all. I thought they made sense before the game started, and once I started playing, I'm like, where do I have that? Oh, it's in the wrong spot. Oh, it's in the wrong spot. So, excuse me. And so now I've changed the list up, hopefully to make it more trim. My issue is that Craig knows all about this army, and the next army he picks to play me in the tournament should have all the answers to my armor 6 superiority here. So I can't wait for the next game to see what he rolls out to beat me. So Tomb Craig brought his Empire of Dust again, and he had made some slight modifications as well. Per our tournament, we're allowed to make a 15% change, and as far as in some points and stuff, I don't really know. After we've done it, I don't really know how to do it. I guess it's, could you drop a 200 and something point unit for another 200 point unit? Does that count? Or in this case, you're just swapping one unit to another. It doesn't really matter. I mean, it's in the spirit of the game. So That's what we're trying to do here. I'm just going to read his list off instead of listing it out. We have a Skeleton Warriors Horde with the Casket of the Damned. We also have a Skeleton Spearman Horde with the Hammer of Measured Force and the Casket of the Damned. A Horde of Revenants with nothing. A Regiment of Mummies with the Casket of the Damned. A Horde of Skeleton Archers. A Horde of Scavengers. A Bone Giant. The Monolith, which he had replaced last game. He had the Soul Snare. This time he has the Monolith. So that's an example of a cross swap. Then we have 2 Balefire Catapults with the Unholy Flames each. We have 1 Cursed High Priest with Heal and Surge 8. We have the second High Priest with just Surge. And we have lastly, of course, the Idol of Shobik, which is in every Empire of Dust list and absolutely should be, because he is so freaking good that there is no reason to leave home without him. So I have played against very much tougher Empire of Dust list. This is going to be my comment here. Craig set his army up to play scenarios, and it does a great job. I know that all you people, oh, this isn't optimized and this isn't that. But you know, if you're setting your army up to play scenarios, it's just a little different. And he used the 2 Balefire Catapults to really good effect during the game. And I like the list. I mean, you know, if it was me, I wish I would have had some more speed somewhere. But as far as a scenario list, it's really pretty decent, and it gave my Brotherhood all that they wanted last game, and it gave this, and you'll see it gives this Forces of Nature army all at once and a lot more. So like I said, I like the list. If I had any criticism, I'd say I would just maybe want some more speed. His little unit of Scavengers did fantastic in both games, and just turning into a plague for me. And I think my Forces Nature army has a little problem with flyers, except unless I stay cuddled up so that I can surge into a flyer that lands behind my line. So anyway, that's the Empire of Dust army, and let's go on to the game. Let's look at the Empire of Dust deployment. Down here in the foreground is a unit of Skeleton Archers. Right next to them is Shobik. Then the unit of Skeleton Warriors. Behind them, of course, is a Balefire Catapult. Over in the very middle is his elite unit of Revenants. Behind them is the Monolith and one of the Cursed High Priest. Far over there in the woods is his unit of Skeleton Spearmen, and they have the Hammer of Measured Force, which would be really good against, all those Armor 6 guys over there. On the very end of the line are his Horde of Scavengers. There's another High Priest over there, I think behind his Regiment of Mummies on the very far end of the table. Hopefully I have a picture of that. And then lastly, the other Balefire Catapult. All right, I'm going to do deployment totally from a different view. This way you can see the end of his line as well. In the foreground is my Beast of Nature. Next to them is the Unicorn, and beside them the first Horde of Earth Elementals. Then another Horde of Earth Elementals. I'm so boring. And then finally the Tree Man, the Shamblers, and the Forest Warden. On the right flank are another Horde of Earth Elementals, and both Pegasi are over there, which I don't really understand what I did that, but it was a thought. So that's my deployment. I kind of spread out to stop him from getting to his tokens. As you can see that the Greater Earth Elemental has a token, I believe. I think my Shamblers have a token, and then the unit of Elementals that's in the dead center has a token as well. For Craig, his tokens were in all the skeleton units. Each of them had a token, I believe. The archers did too, because he just walked them across the table, and I really couldn't do anything to stop him because I didn't have enough units. So anyway, that's the deployment, and we are playing push scenarios, so trying to get those tokens across the middle of the table to win the game. So despite the fact that I got the first turn, I'll let Craig go first, and all these objective scenarios where you have to cross things to do that, I really like going second. just because I could cruise over in the last turn of the game and perhaps get a nice score. So at this end, he's moved forward as fast as skeletons and stuff can move forward. Shobik actually took a right turn and moved toward the center of the table because that's where a lot of my strength was. You can see that I scouted up to the edge of the swamp there that's in the very middle. His unit of spearmen kind of angled over there on his right flank. Bone Giant moved up to cover their flank, and so as did the mummies over there. Both balefire catapults hit my shamblers, and I think they did 4 or 5 wounds. But I think my healing and the aura from the tree man gets rid of most of them on the next turn. So on my turn, I moved my rightmost unit of earth elementals just to kind of bridge the gap between. I wasn't scared of either one of those units with my earth elementals. They really effectively could not hurt me. Shobik though is a one-man wrecking crew. He can kill anything there is. I stuck both Pegasus behind it because I didn't know if I needed to chaff something. The greater earth elemental moved up to protect the flank of the shamblers and stuff, and then the little druid moved up behind him just to add things, and he threw heal, got 3 out of 4 dice, which was really good, and then the tree man went ahead and gave him another one with his aura. Radiance of Life is not an aura. The other unit of earth elementals moved forward along with the what is that over there? Probably another unit of earth elementals all over there on the left hand side. The beast of nature just went there to keep the bone giant and the scavengers honest. He could, with his 20-inch charge range. I had the unicorn next to him, and I think he fired at the giant, and I think he hit him 5 times, did 1 wound. It's kind of the story of this whole game. I mean, he should have at least got 2 wounds. I don't think it's asking for much, but anyway, he just did 1 wound to the bone giant, so that wasn't good. But we'll have to see how the game goes on from here, because I mean, I'm actually pretty good over there, because like I said, just like here in the side, there's only one thing I have to fear over there, and that's that bone giant. Everything else I am pretty much immune to, except the bone giant, Shobik, and those 2 balefire catapults. Those are really my only opposition that I need to deal with. And you would think with 3 flying guys that I would be able to go after those catapults, but I don't think I did a very good job of it. So in his turn 2, the Revenants charged into the horde of forest shamblers. I had moved them up to go ahead and grab that middle token to keep him from getting it, to get some unit in there and getting away with it. So I went up here and went ahead and grabbed that token, and then I don't remember if he surged into me or just charged into me, but I really didn't think he would, because he don't really have any support. You can see how far back everything is at this point in the turn, but he does move it up and to fix that, a little bit of that. So over here, I think the archers angled and shot at something. Don't really recall, because I don't think they did any damage. The skeletons started moving toward to maybe get a flank in on my group of tree critters here in the middle, and Shobik is self-angled as well to try to get in there and do some damage before I could get away with that token. On this flank, the mummies moved up a little bit around the wall. Scavengers swept in behind them for cover. The giant I'm in a position where I could actually charge that horde of spearmen in the flank. So the giant has to kind of stay put. Otherwise, I will do that. And would be a good plan to do it? Probably not, but you never know in these games. This might just leave something unsupported and you can pick on it. So, I mean, he'd probably do 10 wounds to him, which is not bad, but then it'd turn, it'd be bad with his hammer of measured force and all those swings. So, I don't know. The other thing is that I'm pretty sure, now that I look at it, I probably could have charged into the flank of the Revenants in the middle as well. And the the real question for me there is I didn't think I needed to, because I had so much stuff coming in from the front that I didn't really think I needed to charge it. So I just kept him there to protect against the scavengers. And like I say, you can see he's coming toward me there. And I believe the both catapults opened a fire on the same unit, and this time they both missed. So in the middle there, I triple charged. I could have quadruple charged with the Beast of Nature in the flank of that unit of Revenants. Instead, I thought maybe, just maybe, that horde of Shamblers with the Brew of Sharpness and the Tree Man and a Greater Earth Elemental, which is like, we're almost talking, I don't know, a ton of the points in my army, probably over a third of my army charging one unit. And I rolled subpar. I think the Tree Guy and the Greater Earth Elemental did okay, because they were pretty much wounded on anything. But then the Shamblers, they just crapped the bed. I hate to say it, but in the end I rolled. I think I killed them on the first roll. Maybe I didn't. They weren't anything within range. And then the second roll I rolled low, and I got to 23 though. And I thought, well, 23 ought to kill anything in the game. Of course, anything undead, 1 point higher than everybody else, is 24, and so they stayed for a turn. It was not catastrophic, but it really started a tone of dice rolling that the rest of the game it was bad. I mean, the rest of the game was bad. All the dice in this game were bad. But like I said, it just set the tone for everything that went out after that. So everything else just kind of moved up to head him off at the pass. I thought that I would blow out his middle, and I'm pretty sure I did blow out the middle. And over on the left flank, I was playing a little trying to sneak around over there, not to have to really commit to anything until he did. Over here on the right flank, I nudged the elementals up on the edge of the hill, and then used the I was trying to get him to go kind of sideways. I wanted to just kind of screw up the attack. Where I screwed up was the Pegasus on the hill. I wanted to make him charge it and then be facing into that impassable, where the dice is actually impassable terrain. So I wanted to make him face into that and try to slow him down for a turn. The other giant eagle, which is actually a Pegasus, stopped in front of his horde over there just to keep them from getting into the fight with in the middle, because I really thought that I would kill the middle and then turn that Greater Earth Elemental out, and then the Shamblers out that direction, and then back to the left I could have used the Tree Man, because he could hold off that whole flank by himself just about. So that was the plan, was to kind of take the two elements and go right into there. I thought I had a good plan, just in the way, like I said, my Shamblers are aimed kind of, I mean, not my Shamblers, but my elementals are aimed right toward that unit of skeletons right in front of him. So like I said, I didn't really have anything over here that could hurt me except Shobik or the shooters. So I mean, I could have let him charge me in the flank, it didn't matter. But I was just trying to figure out, I mean, that's the one thing that shambling kind of bites you in the butt, is because you can't make a really fast move when you need to, just to get in somebody's face. You have to shamble to do it. I mean, you have to surge to do it. So over on this flank, I moved the elementals forward just a little bit to try to tempt the bone giant into a charge, so that I could knock it out of the way, because nothing else in front of me really was going to stop me. So I was trying to pull him in, and like you say, you can see the other elementals sitting there waiting. I guess the part is I shouldn't have been. I was too close to the horde of spearmen there. I thought I was outside their charge range, but I need to be more careful next time. I think I was more aggravated by some of my dice rolling in the previous turns. So it's easy to lose focus on those things. So yeah, the skeleton archers charged into the flank of the Pegasus, and then the other skeleton warriors charged into the front. And Shobik came around, instead of joining the mess in the middle, he came around the side and got surged into the flank of the Pegasus. Didn't really understand that one, but he really needed to be in the middle fighting with all that stuff over there. So anyway, that's what happened. Of course, I lost both Pegasus, but I thought I was in good shape with that horde, to kind of get locked away in melee with those other two units, and potentially just keep them from going across the line. So on the left side here, I was too close, and that spear horde charged into the front of my elementals, the one with the measure force. So they're going to need sixes to hit. Like I said, they weren't really a threat. I went ahead. The bone giant did come in and hit that unit of elementals, and I think his plan was to surge the mummies into my flank, and he had a lot of surge with that stupid casket of whatever it is, casket of the damned, and came up after he looked at the rules. He realized that the mummies don't have the skeleton keyword, so he was actually 1 inch short. So now his mummies are standing there, 1 inch away from the flank, and then the the unicorn and the beast of nature are there, ready to pounce on them. Sorry for the blurry picture, but you can see that the mummies are stranded there, and I have a pretty good shot. He did a lot of damage with that stupid bone giant. He was rolling dice out his ass all the whole game. I mean, I don't even know what to say. I don't know what to say. And unfortunately, the unit in the middle that needed sixes to hit also did a significant amount of damage, which again is just beyond me. Like I said, the dice this game were not kind to me at all. The Revenants went ahead and charged the greater earth elemental, and I think maybe he was trying to get some points on it so that Shobik could come in and finish him off. I think he did do a couple of points of damage, so that was a good part to the plan. We'll just have to see what happens from here, though. Okay, looking back on this is what I did. I went ahead and charged the Beast of Nature into the flank of the Bone Giant. I was going to have 14 swings, hitting on threes, and I think wounding on threes, if I recall. Let me see here. Yes, threes and threes, plus the 18 swings to the front for fours and fours. And he was already down 5 wounds, so I thought, well, that should pop him pretty easily, I would think. So I took that risk. Probably what I should have done, in retrospect, knowing what happened, that was a dumb move. But what I should have done was probably went ahead and charged the unicorn into the flank of that unit as well, of the mummies as well, to see what I could do there, just to hold them up a little bit. Or I don't even know. I don't know what I'd counted on killing that giant, and my dice just had a whole roll of suckage. Finally, I got down to a point where I think I killed him the first roll. The second roll, I bombed it. Now, there's my Beast of Nature with his back to the unit of mummies, and as low as his chances to hit, but when you get to roll triple of them, that's a lot of chances to kill him. And inevitably, I think he turned the Bone Giant to help kill him as well, which that was kind of confusing because he didn't really need to, because I think the mummies would have instantly slaughtered him. So this was just, I can't say it's a mistake. I think it was the right move, was to be able to kill that giant, overrun a die 6 inches forward, and then turn the elementals into the mummies to hold them off. It was just one of those things, and like I said, I thought that the odds were in my favor, and it just didn't turn out that way. The elementals in the front there just pounded the spearmen with a lot of wounds, and then the tree man actually came into, I turned him around and just surged him right into the flank of them, and I'm pretty sure that wipes that unit out. Over on this flank, the elementals charged down the hill and did pretty decent damage to the skeletons. It wasn't a great amount of damage. Finally, the revenants died, and then the greater earth elemental, who was my most survivable guy, I went ahead and moved him a die 6 inches forward with his token. And I think if anybody would have had a decent chance of living against Shobik, plus the fact that I'm probably going to charge him in the flank the next turn with that 4 Shambler unit, I thought maybe he was the key to survival there, was to hold off Shobik. I was already across the middle of the table with that token on the greater earth elemental, so he was already in good shape as far as scoring. I was already 2 points there. There's 4 points literally right there in the middle of the table already, without really too much effort. And so, like I said, there's really, besides Shobik, there's nothing on this flank that can hurt me. it's just a matter of what to do about Shobik and to see what and see if we can do something about him and try to keep him from interrupting my plan to move across the middle of the table. So yeah, this gives you a little bit better picture of the of afterwards. You can see the tree man. Now what I've done is I've had him turned to kill the giant if for some reason that the that I wasn't able to after the thing before. So I am facing right at the giant's flank, and then the earth elementals are ready to move forward and to take their points across the table. And so I'm in pretty good shape right here. Like I said, I've got excuse me, I think I've got Shobik right where I want him. I've got the giant right where I want him. I mean, even if I lose the beast of nature, I mean, the giant should go down, and hopefully allow that unit to come across the table for the win. So yeah, Shobik gets invited to the party. He comes in to beat on the greater earth elemental, and I think he did significant damage. Let me see if I can see. He did 7 points of damage, which isn't really too bad. I mean, hitting on 3s and wounding on 3s or 4s, I think 3s, despite my armor 6. So probably the most survivable guy that I had to take on Shobik, and not to mention the fact that I have a healer, as you can see in the edge of the woods back here, and then my forest warden is coming up there as well. So yeah, eventually the bone giant goes down to the flank charge from the tree man. There is my token, and I'm not across the table. That wall is actually the middle of the table, you can see, and the unicorn's going forward, and because she's just trying to slow stuff down at this point because she's expendable at this part of the game. So here I'm in good shape here. I've only got that one unit of mummies that can actually do anything to me. Alright, so here is the retribution on Shobik. The 4 shamblers hit him in the flank. The greater earth elemental, who's down to 6 wounds because of healing. I only did 1 heal wound. Well, that's okay though. I need to do something. Hit him in the flank, and then the greater earth elemental in the front. The elementals that are on the hill continue to grind on that unit of spearmen to try to take them out. The thing that happened here was I have 36 attacks in the flank on Shobik, hitting on 3s. Should hit like what, 24 times. Should do probably, I don't know, 8 wounds on average. The big guy in the front, he's going to hit 6 times, probably 5 wounds. So that's whatever that is, at least 13 wounds on Shobik. That's a pretty substantial whack on the big guy. I didn't do anywhere close to that. I think I did like 3. So the dice are just continuing to just to do total crap to me. So yeah, it was bad. I mean, I started doing a lot of damage to that stupid skeleton unit, but I mean, they're skeletons. I should be able to blow through them pretty quick. But I mean, any kind of hordes, as I always tell you, Sean and I always say, a horde's a horde. It takes time to kill them all. So this flank, I didn't take very many more pictures, so I'm just going to kind of wrap up this flank. Shobik comes around and swings at the greater earth elemental, who has the token, and gets him up to 9, I think, and then rolls like an 11 to kill him. No, I think he needed an 11 to kill him, and he rolled it. And my inspiring is just a 1/4 inch out of the way. I didn't think I needed it just right there because I was positioning for some other things, and that allowed the Shobik on the next turn to charge into my forest warden. My forest warden had disengaged from that fight and went over there to grab that token so I could score. And thank goodness Shobik had a bad round and only did like 3 wounds to him, and he survived. By then, though, I was smart enough to bring up my inspiring just in case. So Shobik's standing there on the token that the greater earth elemental had, and forest warden's in the front. So I charge him in the front. I charge him in the rear with the shamblers, with 50-something attacks, and then the forest warden turns around, does, I don't think he only has 3 swings. He did 3 wounds to Shobik by himself, and finally drops the big guy. Over here to the right, the greater earth elementals destroy that unit of skeletons over time, but I've been wailing on him for a little bit with the forest guardian too, because I mean he's got 6 swings for 3s and anything buts in the flank, so he was doing as much damage as the other guys were. Well, probably not that much, but he's what broke that unit. He brings up his priest there at the last, and stands right in front of the token, because it says to put the token in the middle of, to put it in the area of there. So he puts it in the very far back corner when they die, and then he puts the priestess right there in front of it. If I kill her, I could go over and get it. She's too close for me to just bypass because I'll end up with my base on top of her. So that wasn't good. And I thought, okay, I got 18 swings. I'm coming down a hill. 18 swings, probably ought to do, 9 hits, probably 8, 9 wounds, and just blow her off the table. 3 hits, 3 wounds, 18 swings. The dice are just continuing their crap show. It is just ridiculous. But now I've got 4 points right here in the middle, and so that's a good thing. So over on this flank, he surges the mummies into the front of they're wounded. The unit of earth elementals there wounded, and so if he could take them out, he could get that other token, which is already, I don't know if it's across the table or not. I don't think it is, actually. Otherwise, I'd be scoring with it. So he's right there. He comes in, and I'm thinking, what's the big deal? 12 swings, wound on 4s, 3 wounds. It's 12 swings, 6 freaking wounds, and almost wavered them, almost took them out with a dice roll. I think he had to re-roll in order to do it. Oh my God, the dice. Who would have thought that? I'm just sitting there just thinking, what's the 3 wounds ain't gonna do nothing to me. But 6 wounds put me up there in the danger zone because of the wounds I'd taken from the giant. In the very middle there, his catapults, who've been doing kind of average the whole game, just went off and destroyed that unit that has 2 tokens on it. It might have been I think maybe what I did was I moved too far forward and went into the woods instead of just staying outside the woods and maybe block line of sight. But my frustration level was at 99.999% just because of the way the dice were going. There's no way it should have came to this. This should have been with just some average dice. There shouldn't have been any of this stuff in front of me, and I should just be able to roll right across the table. But it's not the way the game works. There's games, and Greg was doing what he's supposed to do, play the scenario, and he did a great job of it. So in the end, because I lost those 2 tokens over there, there went 4 of my victory points, and he had his skeleton unit over on my side of the table, so he had 2. The only thing that got me the game win was killing Shovik and then moving it into him with the Forest Warden. That is crazy because at one point I had 4 tokens across the middle of the table and nothing to show for it. So the final game was 4-2 my way. I did have the points, a little bit more points for killing. I killed a little bit more of his units than he killed of mine, so I got a bonus point for that. And of course, he lost one. So final score on this was 15-6, I believe, was the final total on this tournament game. So next game, I have to play this army again, and my afterthoughts, I'll tell you what I did to fix them. So it's just I won this game. I have to play the same army again, so I thought I'd do some things to fix it. I know there really wasn't much wrong with it, but I think that there's just some choices I made. So we could change 15%, which is 300 points. Like swap a unit out or something like that, but that's not what I'm doing. I'm going to do some really minor changes to the list to make it a little better. So I dropped the Gladewalker Druid for a regular Druid. The regular Druid's still inspired. He's cheaper, has Surge 4 and Bane Chant. I didn't really think I needed Bane Chant in my army, but there were so many battles that I lost that I did not break them by 1. And there's just no kill like overkill. So if I would have had Bane Chant the first time I hit Shovik and some things like that, I would have taken him down in one go. The Forest Warden, kind of a choice because he didn't really do anything. He really should have Inspiring for Verdant, but he doesn't. But I like my model, so instead of doing anything with it, I thought about putting the Inspiring Talisman on him, but since he's always near the tree man, he really doesn't need it. And he's also near all the shamblers because he scouts. So instead I put the loot on him. That way he gets to support, he's a support dude for that shamblers with the Brew of Sharpness, just so he could just absolutely wipe the floor with whatever he gets surged into. And the other thing he can do is he's really small, so he can make flank charges really easy. And you wouldn't think, well, he's got 6 wings, but he has 6 wings on 3s with crushing 2. He actually does 2 or 3 wounds every turn, just on average. But So I'm going to keep him in the list. I didn't see anything that just screamed out to me that would be better. The Earth Elementals are fine. Hitting on 4 sucks. I can't do anything about that. Uh, but one of the things I had some points saved from the Druid change. So I gave one of them the Sanguinary Scripture to make it even harder to kill him out. The other two, I gave one the Mace of Crushing and one the Blade of Slashing. That marginal thing, I'm trying to get that one more wound. That one more wound that makes it so hard to make the dice rolling. The Gladewalker Druid gone. I lost the heal 4 I had on him, and what I did, I just switched over. Instead of having the only missile attack I had in the whole game was the Unicorn's armor. I mean, Lightning Bolt 8, and that was a great missile attack. But I probably need a little bit more. So instead, what I did was, and I guess for some reason I didn't recognize that the unicorns were inspiring. So that gave me my other inspiring thing that I needed on top of everything else. So this time though, I gave him the Shroud with heal and made him heal 8. So that way, even I'm a pain in the ass with a bunch of armor 6 guys, and if somebody that has the ability to heal 8, plus the unicorn's very fast, I can move him around just in case I just need to forgo throwing a spell and getting inspiring over to the key point of the attack, so that things like what happened to my Greater Earth Elemental don't happen in the future. So kind of figured out that I could use, now I have the 3 choices of Inspire with the Druid, the Tree Man, and the Unicorn, and that should be plenty. I mean, I had this rule of thumb in my head that every army should have 3 sources of Inspire. That's just Randy's rule of thumb. It has nothing to do with any kind of logic. It's just the way I like it. And then it's kind of going back to what my friend Sean and I were talking about. I said, if I have 3, I said I also want 2 sources of Bane Chant, and I just think that that's key, because I mean, even with all the Crushing 1 in the army, there's stuff you have to have Crushing 2 to hurt, like Shobik, for example. I mean, he's an anomaly, obviously, but it's just the idea that you're hitting on 3s and 3s, but I'd rather be hitting on 3s and 2s. I need to cause all those extra wounds for those units because my army's small. I've only got 12 drops, and that means I have to kill when I'm fighting. I can't be goofing around with stuff for 2 turns when I should be able to kill it easily in 1 turn. And so that's the changes I'm going to make to my army. Just to decide to Craig's army, I said something about it earlier. The one thing is that Shobik is just a pain in the ass. I mean, I've never seen a game where if you kill him, you haven't spent 900 points to kill a 300-point model. He is just so good. And if you're a Empire of Dust player, I don't even know how you could play the game without him, because he's what really makes the Empire of Dust a good army, in my opinion. The rest, I mean, those without him, I don't even know how you'd win a game. Just because I'm saying, I'm sure you can. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, he just makes it so much easier. And I'm so glad I don't have to face him more. I'd rather face almost anything else but Shobik. So now he's out of my realm of I don't have to deal with him more. I don't know what the next army I'm going to have to play is. Craig has 3 left. He has Northern Alliance. He has what does he have? Elves, some sort of elves. I don't know if they're regular elves or Sylvankin. And the last army he has is Salamanders. So I'm not sure who that he'll face. He knows this army. He knows I've got all that armor 6. I'm expecting it to be Northern Alliance, just because of how much damage they can do and how much crushing they have. They're actually the guys that can crush, go busting right through my army. So I'm kind of expecting it to be there. But then on the other hand, he might do a throwaway, which is just play another game. I mean, I've got a 1-point lead in him in the tournament so far, so he doesn't have to win the next game. He could use one of his weaker armies to just suck it up for the team, and then bring a stronger army out to the next one. As far as my next army after this, it just depends on what happens. If he beats this army, it'll just be what Compounders look like. I really suspect that he would probably bring Northern Alliance to the game because of the crushing of the list. He's got some trolls, he's got some other stuff like that that's really cool. So I kind of suspect that I'll see those, And if he does, probably what I'll do is I'll counter with my Behringer. I've done my an army that is super fast and super hitty, and if he's just got the regular stuff like trolls and things like that, I'm going to blow through him like nothing. That's what I think I'm going to do anyway. But anyway, I just think that I have it that my Behringer will be a good counter to his Northern Alliances, since they're basically the same army playing against each other. Elves, I don't know. I mean, I know that he's got some his elves. He's got some fast cavalry elves he's been working on, backed up by all the tree stuff. I have no idea what his salamander army is like. I saw that he bought some sort of dragon thing for him, so that doesn't sound good for me. But my goal in this whole thing is to get to the 7th game and be able to end the thing with my undead army without having to resort to them before that. And at some point in time, I'm going to have to roll out those Brotherhood guys again and just hope for the best, take one for the team, so to speak, because they just, I don't think they would have a chance against any of his premier armies. I really think I would just play more of a rope-a-dope and just try not to lose as opposed to really trying to win. But you never know with a scenario. I mean, the scenarios, there's 10 more scenarios that we could possibly roll up. So there might be a game where the Brotherhood makes more sense to play. And I really don't know if we don't really announce for the game which army we're going to play, except that if you win, you have to play that one. So you can literally wait to see what happens. There could be a draw, and that way both people are back on square one. They can just throw what army that they want in there. So anyway, hope you've enjoyed the tournament report so far, and looking forward to the next game.